Gender inequality coupled with the climate crisis is one of the greatest challenges of our time. It poses threats to way of life, livelihoods, health, safety and security for women and girls around the world. Historically, climate change scientists, researchers and the policy maker have struggled with how to make the vital connection between gender, social equity, and climate change. As more and more data and research reveals their clear declaration, it's time to talk about the disparate impact of climate change and linkage between women's empowerment and effective goal climate action. On International Women's Day, we take a look at how climate change impacts women and girls, why gender equality is key to climate action, and what you can do to support solutions for women by women. How does climate change impact women and girls? The climate crisis is not gender neutral. Women and the girls experience the greatest impact of climate change, which amplifies existing gender inequalities and poses unique threats to their livelihoods, health, and safety across the world. Women depends more on yet have less access to natural resources in many regions. Women bear a disproportionate responsibility for securing food, water, and fuel. Agriculture is the most important employment sector for women in low and lower middle income countries. During period of the drought and the erratic rainfall, women as agriculture worker and primary precursor work harder to secure income and resource for their families. This puts added pressure on girls who often have to leave school to help their mother manage their increased burden. Climate change is a threat multiplier, meaning it escalate social, political, economics sentences for the fragile and conflict affected settings. As climate change drives conflict across the world, women and girls face increased vulnerabilities to all forms of gender based violence, including conflict related sexual violence, human trafficking, child marriage, and other forms of violence. When disasters strike, women are less likely to survive and more likely to be injured due to the long standing gender inequalities that have created disparities in the information, mobility, decision making, and the access to the resources and training. In the aftermath, women and the girls are less available to access relief and assistance, further threatening their livelihoods, well-being and recovery, and creating a vicious cycle of vulnerability to future disaster. Women and girls' health is engaged by climate change disaster by limiting access to services and health care, as well as increasing risks related to maternal and child health. Results indicate the extreme heat, increased incidence of stillbirth, and climate change is increasing the spread of vector-borne illness such as malaria, dengue fever, and the Zika virus, which are linked to worse maternal and nutritional outcomes. How does climate change interact with other inequalities for women and girls? While women and girls experience disproportionate impact from climate change at the global level, the effects are not uniform. Looking at the climate change through the lens of intersectional feminism, the way in the which various forms of inequality often operate together and exacerbate each other. It is clear that climate change risks are equate for indigenous and Afro-descent women and girls, older women, LGBTIQ plus peoples, women and girls with disabilities, migrant women, and those living in the rural, remote, conflict, and disaster prone areas.